Good. Ryan Olson with you with the first tiebreaker of the 2022 MoPac Mixed Team Playdowns. It's a battle between the undefeated Team Maxie playing with the yellow rocks versus Team McDonald. They're throwing the red. By nature of it's a tiebreaker, and it was set up because McDonald went through the round robin with just one loss, a 4-1, and there is a 2-loss provision where you can't be eliminated from after the round robin if you have less than 2 losses. So we do have this tiebreaker set up between McDonald and Maxie. And now that I've explained that, because Maxie has the better record at 5-0, they have the hammer. So happy to have you with us. The ice is cold, the sun's out. It's a great day for curling, and we're glad to be with you. Early rocks so far. Looks like McDonald has a center guard and a red in the house on the top button. This is the next rock coming from Gabriel Coleman, the lead for Team Maxie. We're coming to you from the Southern California Curling Center in the town of Vernon, just south of Los Angeles. It's a very industrial city, not a hamlet. Both of these teams are kind of a mixture of teams or players from different clubs. They're both skipped by players from Coyotes Curling Club in Tempe, Arizona. And then they also have one component from Northern California. In the case of Maxie, it's the Silicon Valley Curling Club. In the case of McDonald, it is one country out of Sacramento. And so that takeout kind of moved the reds around, but did not eliminate any of the red rocks. So McDonald's kind of looking over the situation. And I think she wants to do a draw with enough weight to tap the red onto the yellow and push that yellow to the back of the house, if not out of play. Here comes the shots from the device for McDonald. That would be, the second, that would be Ella Fleming. And that's going to be a tight guard to the house, but it's not covering anything. Going through our bios, and they're in alphabetical order, so the teams are right next to each other. It's very concise, the bio pages, which is great for me. So throwing some weight by the second for Maxie, and that would be Dan Baresh. And it looks like it moved, it kind of hit the red guard. And so now Brian Feldman Jr. is, I think, going to try the same shots that just through. So just a quick shout out to all the teams that took part in this year's tournament. It was a fun round robin. Got to see a lot of great curlers from throughout the region and beyond. We are putting this tournament on during the Omicron situation, and that has led to some withdrawals for understandable reasons. And, for everyone that was here, thank you. For everyone that wanted to be here, I also thank you. The shot coming from the vice for Maxie, Michelle Wagner. And that does clear the rock that Feldman just threw. So, for not having the hammer in the first end, McDonald looks to be in a pretty decent situation. They might be shot, or they're close. I think they are shot, just from the single. And so just kind of, putting rocks down the center and forcing Maxie to remove those. And at the end of the end, either it's a potential steal of one, or Maxie will probably only be forced to one. So Feldman's second shot. Fleming is going hard on the broom. It looks like it's in a really good place. So this is the net shot coming from Michelle Wagner. Another takeout. Looks like it's going to hit it on the red on the left side. Pardon me. And it does run the red back onto the shot rock red, and gets them both moving out of play. A good shot from Michelle Wagner. So now we're at Skipstones. And Feldman has the broom on the ice down the middle, it looks like. I think they want to draw through the port, or not, like go through the port with takeout weight and hit that yellow out. There is that red hanging on to the edge of the 12-foot. So Andy McDonald gets reset in the hat, just settled back in. And here is her first 2 stones at the end of the first. So it looks like it's not going to go through the port. It's going to hit one of the yellows. And that was the yellow that was the guard in the house. And the red shooter stuck around, and the yellow guard went out of play. So now it looks like Fred Maxie has dialed up a draw for his first. I think getting around the red center guards and put another counter in the top, like the full 12, top 8-foot. Fred Maxie is this dip and curls out of the Coyotes Curling Club in Arizona. Both sweepers are on it. Stan and Gabriel. Now Gabriel's just cleaning. Now Bresh is sweeping hard. Now they're both going hard. It needs to get into the house. And it looks like it will not get there. So with that yellow rock not getting into the house, it looks like McDonald wants to try a takeout type shot again. It's a little bit different. It's going to be a run back, hit the red on the right spot, and run it back. Although based on where Feldman has the broom, it can also be maybe a heavy draw. And here is her Andy McDonald's last. So it looks like it was the heavy draw. Needs to get around the guard. It basically kind of whipped the guard. Oh my. And so it got a little bit of what Russ Howard calls gear action and kind of rotated around that red guard. And that was enough to kind of knock it off course, I would say. And now Maxie has a chance for two. And depending on how it looks like they might be trying to hit the yellow guard on the right side and kind of roll them both in. That's a tricky shot. As long as they make contact, they're definitely going to get two. But there's a chance that they can get the three, and they're going to go for it. And here is Fred Maxie with his last here in the first. Bresh and Coleman are just walking by it now after initially just cleaning. Needs to curl up just a little bit more, make some contact with that yellow. Okay, it does touch the yellow. I don't think it was enough to spill that into the house. So it looks to be a score of 2 for Fred Maxie. Just asking some of the other spectators to confirm the score. It was 2 for Fred Maxie. So now the hammer indicator is correct. Team McDonald does have the hammer to start the second end here at the 2022 MoPac Mixed Playdowns, coming to you from the Southern California Curling Center. Live streaming of this and other regional competitions is powered by the 18 clubs and 1,500 members of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. Our mission serves to grow curling and foster competition in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. Visit mopacca.org today to find a club near you or for help getting a club started in your community. So that was a pretty exciting first end. Let's see what they have for the second. This is Gabrielle Coleman, the lead for Fred Maxie. She's returning to curling after a long break. She was engaged in lots of competitive curling from 2006 to 2014, including the U.S. Olympic trials in 2009. And this first shot from Coleman looks to be a super tight guard, the tightest, most taut. So it looks like McDonald, I think, wants to set up a corner guard and is asking Ozzy Altus to do it. So you may have seen the clocks in the background behind the window, behind the house. There is not a timer for this game. By mutual consent, both teams have opted not to have the game times. So when I heard this on the ice, I joked that the way they would be enforcing the timing was to have someone just like standing on the ice, looking at their watch every so often and sighing deeply. Also just saying, come on, hurry up, Cooey. And it's a kind-hearted jest at Kevin Cooey, who is a great curler and is very deliberative when he needs to make a great shot. So this is Ozzy's next shot. Ozzy was the 2016 Western USA U21 Challenge Round participant, 2018-2019 USA U18 Nationals participant, and he was also at the 2019 Kansas City Barbecue Bonspiel A event winner. And I've heard great things about that Barbecue Bonspiel. And if you can go and have some great Kansas City barbecue and come away with a trophy, that sounds like a great weekend. So Ozzy's next shot went around the guard, it appears, and is in the back 8 foot. This next shot coming from Dan Baresh, the second for Team Maxie. He was a member of 6 state championship teams in North Dakota and has played in 10 national championships. And this rock it looks pretty good. It hits the red that was in the house, and the shooter rolls out of play as well. So now Maxie has a very tight center guard and a rock in play in the house on the right side. And it looks like McDonald still wants to use that corner guard that she put up in the first stone of her team descent. So this is the first rock coming from Ella Fleming, the second for the team. She was the winner of 2 U14 championships for Dakota Territory and a 3-time U18 regional champion, along with attending U21 Nationals. That one crashes on the guard. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, because it does spread out the guards across the house and provides different options to maybe tap or run back one of the reds into the house later. Baresh is getting set, and he took another second to clean the bottom of a stone, making sure that the bottom running surface of the stone is clean is super important in curling. And his shot's away. He notes that the pinnacle of his curling experience is having traveled 49,990 miles to Bonspiels with Michelle Wagner, his competitive partner. And this shot's trying to, I think it tapped the red and then rolled back onto the center yellow guard. And so there's now 2 yellow center guards that are locked onto each other. So those are probably not going to go anywhere without a lot of work, unless there's some separation. It looks like McDonald was kind of maybe looking at kind of slashing those 2 yellows out. Now it looks like she wants to make a play on those guards and the rocks in the house, and has the broom down for Fleming, I think, to take out the rock on the left side from this view. So it curled a bunch, and I think it made contact on a lot of rocks on the center left side of the house, or above the house. It unlocks the one of the 2 yellow center guards, and then it kind of rolled over to the right side and got the red guards moving. This is the first rock from Michelle Wagner, the Vice for Team Maxie. And this one also it hits the red that was guarding the top center, or top left center. And that red goes out of play.
I think that one's easier. Yeah.
So McDonald's looking at her options. I think they still want to kind of clear out the fronts for the first stone from her third, Brian Feldman Jr., who was a U18 Nationals 2019 participant. He was on a team that won the barrel bonspiel from Wine Country Curling in 2019. That's one of, I think, at least 2 bonspiels that Wine Country puts on outside of Sacramento. This shot is a little on the wide side and will sail through without making contact. So I think Fred Maxie maybe wants to draw into that pile, maybe tap one of the yellows back towards the center of the house. And when you do a tap back like that, the shooter would stick around to provide cover for the for the rock that it just promoted. This shot looks like it's going to be that what I predicted. Although they might be trying to go through a port. Okay, it did crash on the one of the yellow guards and roll to the right. So now there are 4 yellows in or just outside the house. And looks like there's a lot of possible biters on the top 12 for Team Maxie. Here comes the shot from Brian Feldman Jr. Again, throwing takeout weights. Line's better this time. It needs to get over a little bit more. Yeah, I think they were going to hit that guard. So now yellow sitting definitely 1. Maybe 2, depending on where the that yellow rock is around just before midnight, as if the house was a dial. And so for Fred Maxie, not entirely sure of the shot that he's called, but I think it's going to be kind of similar to what he had Wagner throw for her last, which was just kind of like a heavy draw into the pile, maybe tap a yellow into the house. Here is Fred Maxie's first. Fred is a 7-time Mixed Nationals participant and 2016 champion. And that was a tap on the guards, kind of gets them moving. So for McDonald, I think it's just a question of how to get into the house, or how to make sure that they're counting at the end of the end. And so she's kind of looking at maybe raising that red on the right side onto the yellow. They put up those 2 corner guards on the left side of the sheets. But I don't think they're in a position to be used necessarily, although the top left red, if they hit it at the right angle, they could maybe angle it back towards the button, the center of the house. That would be a tricky shot, and you always, I think, want to go for the higher percentage shots first, and then then go for the harder shot if you have to. And so it looks like they're going to do the run back with Brian Feldman having the broom next to their red stone just outside the house. This is Andy McDonald's first. Andy competed at the Youth Olympic Trials. So it looks like it, I think it hit it just a little too far outside on the right. And just based on the angles, that meant that the red went through the house and did not make contact with the yellow. So for Fred Maxie, it looks like he's going to do a similar shot to his last, and just kind of put another yellow into the pile. It looks like now they are pretty definitely sitting two. That yellow biter is full-on nibbling, as it were. This shot, it will definitely be fully in the house after this. He got a little chain reaction, yellow onto yellow onto yellow, and that pushed that yellow further back into the area between the 8 and 12-foot rings. So for Team McDonald, this is going to be take your medicine time and try and get one out of this. There is a port on the right side, thanks to Andy McDonald's last rock, where she can throw between that yellow on the left and the red on the right and make contact with the yellow that is sitting shot in the middle 8-foot on the right. And that would be for one. It's a okay sized port, so I think that she should be able to make it. Some other information about Andy: she placed 4th at the U21 Junior Nationals in 17 and 21. Also 5th at the U21 Junior Nationals in 2018. This one needs to curl up a smidge more, and it's not going to do it. Not going to curl enough. It hits the yellow into the house. And so now what was potentially a force of 1 for McDonald has turned into a steal of 3 for Team Maxie. So McDonald has some work to do when we come back in just a moment from the 2022 MoPac Mixed Team Playdowns from the Southern California Curling Center. If you or your business would like to become a sponsor for MoPac, our competitions, or our live streaming service, visit mopacca.org and click on the contact link on the right-hand side of the page. For everyone watching on our YouTube channel, thank you so much for tuning in. We definitely hope we have a great game on tap for the first of 2 possible tiebreakers. Essentially, the scenario is if Maxie wins this game, his team will be the champion. Andy McDonald needs to win this game for a chance to win the second game. She has to win twice, essentially, to lay claim to the MoPac title. And the stakes on the line are a berth at the U.S. Mixed Nationals. And then if you get to the U.S. Nationals, the stakes are a berth in the World Mixed. So there is a path to the World Championship, and that path starts here in Los Angeles. And starting this third end with Gabriel Coleman. Looks like they're joining the house. He's going to settle in the top 4 foot.
Yes. Good idea.
Yeah, sorry about that. You got a very unlucky break.
I'm multitasking, so I apologize for any audio pause. This rock coming down from lead Ozzy Altus. He also played at the 2019 Silicon Valley Arena Nationals Playdowns, so for his club to go to Arena Nationals and won. He was also the 2020 California Pitch Playdowns winner. And unfortunately his shot, I think, was a little short. It did not cross the hog line and was taken out of play.
Yeah, you know.
I'm trying to share this link on social media, and I shared it on my personal page as opposed to the MoPac page. So I'm having a great morning. Let's see who on the ice is going to have an even better day. Mr. Altus gets super low on the ice in a way that I wish I could do that doesn't involve falling. This shot, they wanted corner guard. McDonald has the broom down on the left corner to set up a corner guard to generate some offense. Just a note about the format of mixed team. It has the word mixed in the name, so you might think it's related to mixed doubles, but the game is actually closer to the 4-person traditional format. Each team throws 8 stones, and everyone throws 2 stones. It's different than in mixed doubles where one player throws 2, the other player throws 3. Also, the big difference is that between the 4-person team format and the mixed team format, is that you have 2 of each gender, and you have to alternate the throwers based on gender. You can't have a man and a man throw next to each other, and it has to be man, woman, or woman, man, woman, man. And I was trying to think of a joke, and I did not make it happen. This next shot coming from Ella Fleming. Looks like they're throwing a bit of weight toward the house. I think they wanted to maybe have a curl of maybe an inch or 2 more. It got one of the 3 yellows out of the front of the house or the guard area. So I think Maxie wants Dan Baresh to throw another yellow on the right side, maybe to tap the yellows further back into the house. So this shot looks like it's pretty close. It's going to be a guard, which is pretty good. It's going to be hard for McDonald to get those rocks out. Although there could be a double on the right side depending on how Ella Fleming throws the rock. She's also looking at maybe trying to run the red onto the yellow, but now she was looking at the double briefly. And then also like maybe running the yellow guard that was just thrown back into the pile. I think just to kind of split stuff up. And I think she's calling for the red run back down the middle. Ella Fleming gets set. So this one, crashed on the yellow guard. So it looks like for Maxie, he's asking Michelle Wagner to put up a guard. Yes, he wants to put the guard up in front of the red down the center. Michelle Wagner has started in 2003, has played in 8 qualifying national events, 2 non-qualifying events, and an Olympic trial, and had a great guard weight there. Good line. Put it exactly where Maxie wanted it. Also, she knows that more important than going to nationals 10 times is that since 2013, she's done 59 bonspiels with Dan Baresh. So for McDonald, I think she wants to keep blasting. The corner guard that was put up early in the end has not been in play. So this is Brent Feldman Jr. Runs the yellow onto yellow, and one of the yellows goes through the house. So that does change things up somewhat. And then also that red that Feldman threw rolled to the left. So now there's double corner guards on the left side. I think Maxie wants Wagner to do a similar shot to her last. This one doesn't curl up as much. It wicks off of one of the yellow corners and settles on top of the red that is now in the 12-foot. So for McDonald, I think she is in a position to maybe get one, and then with a little bit of work, but then kind of looking to see how she can generate some offense to get a multiple point score to kind of start clawing her way back into this game. She and Feldman were kind of talking things over. Again, looking at throwing some dynamite at that rock pile. There's a lot of barriers, and I think I'm not exactly sure what the outcome of this shot is going to be. So I think they're going to throw into the pile again. This one's overcurling slightly. Supers are going hard. Both Ozzy and Ella. So they're not going to blast. I think just kind of do some tapping. A little Gene Kelly tap dance routine. The thing is that with those juniors on the ice, I don't know if they would know who Gene Kelly is. We can turn on an American in Paris, or maybe pretend that Gene Kelly did a curling tap dancing movie before he ended his career. So now the situation in the front's changed somewhat. Wagner has the broom on the left side. I think it's just going to be a guard based on where she has the broom. One tip is that most skips use the T-line crossing the middle of the house horizontally as a reference point for holding the broom for draws and guards, like draws to the house or guards. Just because it helps to keep the angle, it simplifies the angle. However, if you're throwing a takeout or a hit, you want to have the broom near the rock that you want to hit first, because that's making sure that you're on the line to hit the rock in the right place is the most important. So in this case, it was a draw. It was a light draw to the guard area or the very top of the house. It touched the red and kind of rolled on top of the yellow that is in the top 12 area at around just before midnight.
Oh, nice.
Good shot, though. Nonetheless.
Yeah.
So again, McDonald is facing a tricky situation. So again, I think they're in a position where they can get one if they do the red double run back, red onto yellow. They'll be sitting one, and actually they might be able to get two out of the bot with that action. And then also it's going to be hard for Maxie to make a play on those red shot rocks should that first Andy McDonald shot be executed successfully. And this is Andy McDonald with her first. Fleming's on it. Now she's off. Throwing a bit of heat at this shot. It's important that the yellow goes out of the house and the red stays in play. Okay, the shot was a little off to the right. It had a little bit of a pinball action. It kicked the red onto the yellow, and one of the yellows went out. And then the red shooter, I think, kind of stopped on top of the red. Or actually, no, I think the red rolled to the side. And then also one of the other yellows rolled to the outer 12 foot on the right. And that is why they were both teams were looking to see which was sitting second shot. I think it is Maxie sitting two. And I think what Maxie wants to do is guard and block the run back for that McDonald might have wanted to try again. Although the angles the angles on those reds would, I think, make it a little tough to do the run back the second time. It's not impossible, but let's just maybe a slight bit more tricky than the first time. Maxie went down to the other side of the ice, had a look, and is now maybe changing his mind, taking another look, talking about it with Michelle Wagner. So he's kind of resetting the shots. And again, I think that the ultimate goal is to put a guard to block the double run back by McDonald. And so Maxie gets back into the house, back into the hat. So this is the only game in the competition happening right now. You might see people on the ice next to us, and there's actually a class that is being given in Spanish. And it's, I think it's a great thing just to see growing the game by encouraging people of all cultures to engage in this sport that I think has a lot of appeal to a lot of people. So this shot from Maxie is not curling up a lot, but it might be curling up enough. And I think it did. So it might look like those reds are open a little bit.
Right.
But I think in order to successfully unlock the reds and run it back onto the yellow, you would need to hit it on the left side, perhaps.
Right.
Although she's looking at maybe doing an angle, taking it from the right side. There are some things about hits and angles and kinetics I still don't quite know everything about. One thing that some of the top level curlers do is they play pool, because like some of the kinetic action that you would see in pool and the angles is similar to what you can try to recreate on the curling ice. But instead of the very lightweight pool balls, you're dealing with 44-pound stones. So with the easiest run back closed off, they're looking at kind of running the yellow onto red, onto red, onto yellow. And that's a super tricky shot. And they're also looking at maybe an angle raise on the right side. I think they had to hit on the outside, which is where McDonald is putting the broom. We're gesturing with her broom. Sometimes you would maybe want to hit it on the inside and kind of like carom off the stationary stone in a shot called an in-off. But with that yellow guard to the left of that red stone that they're working around, I think the in-off is not likely. So as a reminder, there are no clocks. And we can listen in a little bit to hear what they're saying.
They're sitting two.
So not exactly sure the shot they called. It seems like they may have not called a shot. It sounded like the hat and see how things looked. And now that she is 140 feet away, they're kind of looking toward the left side of the scoring area from this view. Looks like they want to try the angle quad run back. Needless to say, the level of difficulty of this shot is high. And you need to hit each stone in the right spots. But here we go, Andy McDonald with a chance to try and get some points out of this. It's not curling, so they're saying it needs to curl. Ozzy, I think, is trying to coax it over. Okay, actually they're going to try and go through the port, and it crashed on the guard. And so that is another 2 for Team Maxie. One of the differences between the traditional 4-person game and the mixed team game is that we are playing 8 ends. Top level competitions for nationals or worlds or Olympics or Paralympics, or maybe not Paralympics, but Olympics, there are 10 ends. So you have 2 less opportunities to affect the outcome of the game, and so each end is like maybe just a little bit more important. So both teams talking it over and are getting ready to get back to work.
I was on team huddle and I said, "Dan, you like 2 corners?" He goes, "What?" I'm kidding.
This broadcast is presented by authority of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. However, I said it before and I'll say it again, if you can recreate this game with Muppets, I'm pretty sure I'll let you do it. McDonald has a hammer coming home at the 4th end. We will be taking a break at the 4th end of about 5 minutes. However, the games are not being timed fully, so who knows what might happen. One thing about the timing is that it helps encourage timely play, and people tend to maybe kind of worry that there might not be enough time to make their shots. But generally, I've seen and experienced that if you just kind of stay focused on moving deliberately and not don't have to rush. But you can't lollygag. But if you just kind of keep a good tempo, you can easily play within the time that you have. This is Ozzy Altus first. I think they're trying to change the strategy up a little bit. Trying to put a corner guard up on the right side. So a little earlier, we were thanking the teams. Just definitely also want to thank the people here at the Southern California Curling Center for being such gracious hosts. It's been a wonderful weekend, and this new facility is pretty great, especially for an American curling club. And one of the big advantages are that it is a cavernous space. It's a 6-sheeter, and there is a viewing area on both the behind the home houses and along sheet 6. So there's plenty of space to spread out and have some different views of the game. And then also thanks to everyone at MoPac for their efforts to get this event underway. I know it's been a trying period, especially as we try to work around the surge in COVID cases. I know that's required some sacrifices and some work to get around it, to make sure that we're able to have this competition and be as safe as possible. So again, my thanks to everyone who helped pull that off. So McDonald went around the corner guard. They're now sitting shot rock, but it is, I think, a little bit exposed for a takeout that Maxie has called for Dan Baresh. So sweepers are ready, but Maxie called them off. They're just following it down as good sweepers do. Sweepers stay with the rock as they're able to be able to lay a broom on the ice as quickly as possible, and successfully gets that rock out. So for McDonald, she is facing 3 Maxie yellows in the house, and I think she wants to hit and roll towards the left. And also considering drawing to the yellow that was just thrown by Baresh. I think getting rocks in play might be the best strategy for her at this point. I think like drawing into the house, there's a little bit of backing with those yellows behind the tee line in the back 12. So Ella Fleming has targets to draw to outcount the yellows and hopefully be able to get a couple points on the board. This looks a little heavy. Although I may have been fooled. Sweepers are off now. They were sweeping pretty hard. So they are drawing to the yellow that was just thrown. And it is pretty close to a freeze. So that's I think, a really good shot to kind of start getting things going for Team McDonald here in this end. So for Maxie, he can just kind of start kind of throwing heat at these rocks just to get rid of them. He has the advantage of the scoreboard, and he also has the advantage of having 3 rocks in the house. So Baresh was called to throw hack weight, and it looks like it's there. So it unlocks the yellow that was that the red was frozen on. The red stuck around, but another shot down that path will probably get that red out. So it looks like they maybe want to put another red on top, which might be a good call just to get more in there and make it harder for Maxie to take out their red shots. And yeah, it looks like McDonald wants it to curl maybe just a little bit more to be on top of the yellow on the right side. And so that way, if Maxie throws another takeout, it would hit the red onto the yellow, and at least one of the reds would stick around. And this is Ella Fleming's second, I believe. So it's a similar shot to the last. Brian's sweeping pretty hard. Want to make sure it gets there. And it does hit the yellow. But it also moves the yellow back. So I think there's a possible double there for Team Maxie. And I think that's what Maxie has done. He's put the broom down for Michelle Wagner to throw some heat at those reds, get both of those reds moving and out of the house. Wait, looks pretty good. Line's good. Past the yellow at the top. Gets one of the reds out of play, and the shooter also rolls to the left and out of play. So I think McDonald is. They're still looking at that right side, And I think, I mean, basically that yellow is still providing some backing for McDonald to use. And again, you want to basically have at least one of your stones stick around in an area that can be close to shot or shot. And that way, for your last row of the end, you can draw and get 2, or if you're lucky, 3 or more. This shot coming from Brian Feldman Jr. This one looks to be line's a little. It's over curling, or it might be good. I think they wanted it. I think they would have wanted it on the yellow, and it's close, but it's not frozen on, and so Team Maxie has Michelle Wagner throwing another takeout. Sweepers were just cleaning. Now they're going hard. And it's another red onto red. One of the reds goes away. And now the red is next to the yellow in the center of the house. And so, again, there's more backing. So I think McDonald, is going to keep playing on that side. I think she's contemplating maybe doing a hit and roll. Trying to roll towards the center under the cover of the yellow in the 12-foot. I wonder if it would be prudent to draw to the left side, try to split the house, and then worry about getting rid of that yellow later. The opportunity then for Maxie to be just to put another yellow into the center of the house. So that's probably not a good idea. So here comes a takeout shot from Brian Feldman Jr. This one needs to, it looks like it's trailing up pretty close. It turns into a nose hit. And hits to, I think it rolls towards the red. And I think that was kind of the jeopardy of trying to hit and roll, because now those two reds are exposed and they're next to each other, and that's a as I say, a tasty, tempting target for Fred Maxie, as he has Michelle Wagner put the broom right down in a position to double those reds out. So Fred Maxie talks it over very briefly with his front end. Communication is such an important part of the game. I think it's also one of the nice things about when the players are mic'd up is that you can hear how much interaction goes into formulating the shot and then making the shot, especially between the sweepers and the skip and the person throwing the stone. So this is for a double takeout. Got 1, got 2. Good shot for Fred Maxie. Just a little bit of a fist pump as after making a great shot. And now after McDonald was kind of trying to build something almost back to square one. But there's only 2 stones remaining in the end for Team McDonald. It's not impossible to try and manufacture what they call a skipper's deuce. It is going to be very difficult, especially you're playing against someone with the skill of Fred Maxie. I think they want to heavy draw tap. Although I think it's more of it's closer to a regular draw. In my weekend here, the stones are curling both ways, but about that much, about 2.5 to 3 feet, depending on where the stones go down the ice. So this is Andy McDonald's first. This one, it is a draw. It needs to get into the house. They're both going really hard, both Fleming and Ozzy Altus. And now Altus is carrying into the house. And it's just a little bit short. And it's exposed, so that leaves Fred Maxey a chance for another takeout. And just a takeout, and that would leave another tricky-ish shot for Andy McDonald. Shots underway. It crashed on the yellow guard and got some of the yellows moving. So just like that, the momentum swings back towards Team McDonald, and now they have a shot, a fairly straightforward shot for two. Basically, Brian Feldman Jr. has the broom in the same position as the first shot for Andy McDonald. All she needs is a draw to the 8-foot to secure 2 points and get on the board. So has to get there. Her first shot was a smidge on the left side. She does have the whole 8-foot to reach as a target. And here we go. The hammer from Andy McDonald here in the fourth. So both sweepers are going hard again, Fleming and Altus. Needs to get there. They're going really, really hard. It needs to touch the 8-foot, and it's there. It was there all day. No. Great sweep by Altus and Fleming to get that stone into the house for a second shot. And so we go into our fourth end break with McDonald on the board. So in our first tiebreaker of a potential 2, it's Team Maxie 7, Team McDonald 2. We'll be right back after a brief break here at the 2022 MoPac Mixed Team Playdowns from the Southern California Curling Center. Rocks in play. We are underway here in the 5th of 8 potential ends here in the first tiebreaker between teams Maxie and McDonald at the 2022 MoPac Mixed Playdowns. This is your announcer Ryan Olson with you, calling the action as we start the second half of play. The first half of the game was pretty solidly controlled by Team Maxie, but Team McDonald was able to manufacture a deuce to get on the board. So we start the second half of the game with the score 7-2 in favor of Team Maxie. This is a tiebreaker between the two teams. Team Maxie did go through the round-robin field of 6 teams with a perfect 5-0 record. Team McDonald had a 4-1 record. Their only loss was to Team Maxie. However, the rules of the competition include a 2-loss provision, where you can't be eliminated from the competition if you finish the round robin with less than 2 losses. And so McDonald was able to do so with just the 1 loss. They continue to stay alive and are in this one of potentially 2 tiebreakers. Essentially, McDonald has to win twice to win the event, while Team Maxie just needs to win a single game. So this is Ella Fleming, the second for Team McDonald, throwing her first shot, it appears. Both sweepers are going hard, Ozzy Altus and Brian Feldman. And then they call the sweepers off. It does get over the hog line and is in play. And it's a pretty high guard. So it looks like Maxie wants to start clearing some of these guards out of the way. And the second for Team Maxie gets set, Dan Baresh. Looks like it hits a yellow, red onto yellow. So it kind of moves the guards around, but it also puts a red into the house and clears one of the yellows from the scoring area. So I would probably score that as a bit of a miss. And so now McDonald, I think, is kind of shifting to steal mode. I think actually she might need to be in steal mode for most of the remainder of this game to come back and get back those 5 points that she's down. Next shot coming from Ella Fleming. I think they want to draw around. Maybe be into the top of the house. It's coming down and is going to make some contact on the yellow. And actually brings the yellow into the house. But red is still shot. So Maxie doesn't waste any time and asks Dan Perez to clear the guard again. And this time gets the guard out of play, and the shooter will also roll out of consideration. So for McDonald, they're sitting 1. There is it looks to be from this view a path to the house. And if you don't have the hammer, you want to generally control the front center of the house. And right now there's a port. So she's kind of looking, I think she was initially looking at the left side from this view, but also it would maybe make sense to draw to the right from this view, and I think that's what she set up. So for this overhead, now she wants Brian Feldman Jr. to draw and have the stone go towards the center. And this is the shot coming from Brian Feldman Jr. So it's going to go through the port, and it's going to settle into the top of the 12 foot, I think into the 8 foot. Actually solid 8 foot. So I think that was a pretty good shot from Brian Feldman Jr. or BFJ. I don't think people call him that. So now I think it went a little too deep, just based on where Fred Maxie has the broom down. Is setting up a double attempt for Michelle Wagner. So the shot's also going to go through the port. I think it's going to hit hits the red onto the red. The first red jams, and so that will stick around. And the yellow shooter goes out of play. So now kind of the strategy of this end is kind of set for now. It can always change. But with McDonald wanting to control the center of the house, she's going to try that guard or be in the top of the house cover for the shot stone. And here's Brian's second shot. This one's a little lighter. Swoopers are on it. I think it's just making sure it gets to the right line on the ice, and it looks like it's now effectively blocking the path to the button. So one reason why, if you don't have the hammer, you want to control the front center of the house is that you want to block off draw paths to the house and make it harder for the team with the hammer to score a single point or at all. So it looks like Fred Maxie wants Wagner to clear some of these guards out. It's going to crash on the red guard, get the red guard out of play, and the yellow shooter will also roll. And so we're kind of back to where we were 2 stoves ago. And now Andy McDonald will now work to put the guard back into play. So looking to put up another guard. If it slips into the top of the house, I think that's pretty good. This is Andy McDonald with her first here in the 5th. So weight looks good. The line looks good as well. So it's going to be pretty similar to where Brian put his last stone. So it's again blocking the port. And Fred Maxie, I think, is looking to do a run back double. If he hits the top guard red at the right angle, it'll run the red guard back onto the red in the house, and then it'll kind of angle them both out of play. So Michelle Wagner has the broom down as Fred Maxey slides back to the hack. Practicing good rock hygiene as he gets set into the hatch. So one of the reds goes out, but it was over curled, I think just a smidge. And so in terms of just the angle, it hit it at the wrong angle, and so it goes out of play without hitting the red that is sitting shot. So now after playing down the center on the right side, McDonald is looking at putting a guard on the left side. I would initially think that you would maybe want to draw into the house, be full 12 foot, so you're sitting 2 out counting the Maxie yellow that's on the right side and the 12 foot. Especially because a steal of 1 is great, but you have 3 ends remaining after this, and you need to kind of generate at least 4 additional points. So also another strategy would maybe to force Maxie to 1, and that way kind of force 1 and then score 2 or more, force 1, score 2 or more, and that would hopefully kind of claw her way back into this game. But this is the last shot from Andy McDonald here in the 5th. Both Fleming and Altus are going for sweeping. But they said, I think Andy says it needs to curl. And it does put a guard into that path. And so now, Maxie is kind of forced into something of a tricky shot. He's looking at down the center, like run the red onto yellow, and then have the yellow run back onto the button. I was thinking that he's kind of shifting over to the right side is to do an angle run back. And you don't necessarily need to push the red back far or at all. You just need to make sure that the yellow is right on the button to get a single point. Is the call that Fred Maxey has made as he's getting settled into the hat. Fred Maxey from the Coyotes Curling Club is representing a team from that includes members from Silicon Valley. That would be Gabriel Coleman, and 2 members from Capital Curling out of the Dakota area. Team McDonald is also from Coyotes, and she has team members from Wine Country, Silicon Valley, and Capital. So, wow, what a great shot. He got the yellow onto the red goes out, the yellow sticks around, and that is a force of 1. What a great end by both teams. It is Fred Maxey who gets the force of 1 and goes up 8-2 over Team McDonald as we head into the 6th end. And we'll be right back as our coverage continues from the 2022 MoPac Mixed Playdowns from the Southern California Curling Center. So we are here at the Southern California Curling Center. What great hosts, what a great facility, and it's only going to get better as they continue to make improvements to the facility. They are starting several competitions at this facility in Vernon, just south of LA. And one of the events coming up are the Rising Stars 5 and Under. It's a bonspiel or curling tournament for players that have 5 years of experience or less. And that's a chance to play with newer curlers who have similar skill sets that with other players. There can be some differences between people who learn to curl in a facility like this, dedicated ice, versus those on hockey ice or arena ice, as we call it. But it's still something of an equalizer. It's a fun event, and so that's coming up. The Rising Stars 5 and Under. And also MoPac, our association, has a 5 and Under for clubs in our region. That's going to be in Denver in April. Denver is not in our region, but they are hosting. And that's also a great event because you again get to bring a bunch of new curlers from all over the area and just enjoy learning more about the competitive and travel aspects of the game. And then also for Southern California Curling Center, the winner of the Rising Stars 5 and Under and several other qualifying events from around the country will secure a berth in the first USA Curling 5 and Under National Championship that is being hosted by Southern California. And that's also coming up, I think, late April, early May. Just one note, with all these 5 and Unders, the MoPac 5 and Under is not a qualifying event for the National Championship, at least for this year. But lots of great events coming up. Curling, SoCal Curling has a website, curling.la, a great website to check out. Also heavily engaged on social media. So if you want to find out more about curling in Southern California, there's SoCal, Hollywood Curling, which curls out of the center. You have Orange County, San Diego, the broader California curling scene. It's kind of fun to have an ice sport thrive where it's almost always in the mid-70s outside. So lots in play here in the 6th end coming home. Looks like Team Maxie is sitting a rock right on the lid, while McDonald has a couple guards. And so again, with Maxie not having the hammer, he wants to draw play towards the center and control the front of the house. Andy McDonald wants to draw play to the wings so that the center is open to make a final shot to hopefully score multiple points. So when you see Fleming make her delivery, I think she kind of tilts her head to the side, and that's I think that's a good curling delivery if you need it. Basically, you kind of determine which of your eye is stronger in terms of like maintaining your aim and your aim accuracy. And so some people are stronger in the right eye. I think she's stronger in her left eye, and so she's making sure her left eye stays focused and centered on the target as she pushes out a hat. And this shot is hopefully going to bite the top of the house, and it does. I think they maybe wanted it a little deeper, although it does maybe kind of help set things up for later in the end. You see McDonald putting her jacket on. It has felt colder in here within the past 16 hours, I would say. It got pretty chilly outside overnight, and it's obviously very cold in the ice house. So Dan Baresh throws some weight on the guards, and basically a pretty great shot. Even as Andy McDonald tries to coax one of the yellows to go further out of the rings. So now the center's pretty open, and now Maxie is sitting first and second shot, while McDonald has the third in the 12-foot ring at 12 o'clock. So for McDonald, she has the hammer, and so it's trying to generate a multiple play score. And I think she was kind of looking at maybe drawing under the cover and also out counting that yellow on the left. But I think they are doing that play. Andy's making sure that they hold the line. Weight is pretty close. It's around the guard. Great shot around the guard, and it's going to settle in just behind the tee line, out counting the second yellow. However, it also is a path that Fred Maxie could try to draw to if he wished. But he's going to, I think, try and open up the center and remove one of the reds that is in the top of the house. So Michelle Wagner gets set. Kicks out. You might see that everyone's using orange broom pads. That is the World Curling Federation competition compliant surface or fabric. So Wagner successfully gets rid of the red rock in the house and leaves some cover down the center. So McDonald's kind of looking at her options. So some tough angles to consider. She could try and draw that, draw over to the left again. But I think she wants to maybe sit one right on top of the yellow. That's shot rock, just kind of based on where she has the broom and where she's gesturing. And that is a call she's made. So she wants to basically sit on top of the yellow and be second and third shot, and then where that red and the yellow are, she can tap that yellow out later and hopefully get multiple points. This stone coming now from Brian Feldman Jr. This one's a little wide and heavy. So unfortunately, a miss. I don't think it does too much damage. I think it is sitting third or fourth shot. And so now Fred Maxie wants to, it's sitting fourth shot. So Fred Maxie wants to take out the red second shot. So he's got the broom down for kind of a heavy draw takeout. Calls out the sweepers, so they're just walking it down. This one is a little wider than the first McDonald shot, but it does make contact on the McDonald red. And so the red gets pushed to the outer 12, and the yellow shooter rolls on top of the red on the right. And so now McDonald is sitting, Maxie is sitting 3. And before you get to the first McDonald red for the 4th counter. So again, another tough decision. I think she might want to try, and I think they're lining up for a double takeout now. Start playing some of these yellows out of the way.
I was worried that wasn't working. I had to wait and see if it was going to pick up.
Yeah.
We couldn't flash it.
Right.
And if you get rid of 2 of them, I think that would definitely help their end. This one is looks good on target to get 1. Just one touches the second one. McDonald is sweeping it, and it's going to have enough energy to roll past the house, but it stays on the back line. So it looks like a good shot by Brian Feldman Jr. So now the center of the house is pretty wide open. I think friend Maxie wants to put up a rock in the top of the house just to start putting up some obstacles for to prevent Andy McDonald from getting easy access to the button.
Did you see what they just did?
Fred Maxie gets set. Coleman and Baresh are sweeping hard out of hand. This one has a decent amount of curling to do. Looks like based on where Wagner has a broom, they want it to sit down right in the top 8 foot. And it is pretty close to target. So McDonald's looking for a way to get multiple points out of this. And I think so. The red that's in the back 12 on the right is probably not going to come into play. So I think what they're looking to do is get rid of some of these yellow counters. And basically from this view, there's that yellow that they're kind of talking around. They want to hit the yellow on the left side and have it roll to the yellow on the left. And in that way, they would be sitting shot rock under cover. And then then Maxie would probably determine what to do next. He might want to try and freeze to the red where it came to rest to negate that. Or give it the scoreboard. He might be happy to just give up 2. I think he would not be happy to give up 2.
That's okay.
I think he would try and make a play on the shot rock red. Or he could he could draw down to the back yellow and out count the red. And that might be easier than trying to draw around cover. But there's definitely possibilities for both teams, and Brian has the broom down for his skip. I think they are doing the hit and roll. I think they are throwing it with enough weight to get 2 stones moving, and also have the shooter roll across the house. Looks like it's over curling though. So the plan B would hit the yellow in the back of the house, and the yellow jammed on the red. And so now Maxie is sitting 3, and McDonald will need to find a way to get out of this end with 1 point. And I think Maxie just wants to close the door as much as possible. So looking for a draw from friend Maxie here with his last rock in the 6th. Baresh and Coleman are sweeping it out of hand again. Now they're just cleaning. Now they dig in. It looks like it's going to be in the house. Just it's going to tap that yellow back onto the forefoot. And so it's going to be a tough draw perhaps for McDonald, or she could nose hit the yellow. It looks like the nose hit the yellow shot rock, and then that would, I think, outcount the other yellows around the circle. So she just threw a takeout, so I think she's going to try the takeout again to have similar weights. Excuse me, Brian Feldman has the broom down. Definitely looks like takeout weight. Needs the nose hit to stick around. If it rolls a little bit to the side, that's not a bad outcome as long as it doesn't roll too far. So this is a shot for 1 from Eddie McDonald here with a hammer in the 6th end. Altus was cleaning briefly is off. Gets the yellow. Sits around 4-1. So a good shot, 4-1. A tough force. But through 6 ends, it is Team Maxie 8 and Team McDonald 3. If you or your business would like to become a sponsor for MoPac, our competitions, or our live streaming service, visit mopacca.org and click on the contact link on the right-hand side of the page. And as a person who has the streaming set up, we can play back pre-recorded videos. So if we have teams with sponsors that they want to mention, we can do that. If we have RC Cola who wants to sponsor curling, they can do that too. Or Pop Rocks. I think we should do a sponsorship with Pop Rocks. So here we are about to start the 7th end with the first stone coming from Ozzy Altus. I think the joke is that I might be able to get down as low as Altus does with his delivery. The question is being able to get up again. So a good center guard from Altus to open things up here in the 7th. Gabriel Coleman gets set in the hack. And I think Maxie just wants to draw around that corner guard. Maybe tip the center guard. Maybe tip the center guard to the side. It's close to being a tick. And tick it is. So with 2 ends to go, looking at the scoreboard, it's a tricky situation for McDonald because it's hard to score multiple points sometimes, and they would need to score a fistful or 5. It's especially hard to steal multiple points without the hammer, and I don't know if they're in a steal all costs situation. I think they have to be. I don't think they can play the force Maxie to 1 because then it would be a 6-point lead, and that is it's super hard to score a 6-ender. Although I have been known to give up 1 or 2 in my day, and that's why I'm commentating curling and not playing this weekend. Speaking of that, it's great to see so many different players with diverse backgrounds and playing experience. I do often note, and I will do now note that I have been curling at the Utah Olympic Oval for about 5 to 6 years. I've only done a couple of bonspiels, and the highest accomplishment was being on a team that qualified for Arena Nationals out of our club. But I have watched a lot of TV, watched a lot of curling on TV, and I have been a fan of the game for almost 20 years. And so hopefully that is reflected in this production, including my commentary. I also was a disc jockey on community and public radio stations, so that's also why I can talk by myself for a long time without it seeming hopefully too super awkward. So it looks like McDonald is throwing up a lot of guards, hopefully to utilize them later in the end. And Maxie does not want to give McDonald that opportunity, asking Varesh to start clearing some of these guards. And gets 1 out of play. The shooter rolls out as well. One of the reds rolled on top of the other red guard, forming kind of a little duo of guards. So those two red guards are going to be hard to remove together. So I think McDonald might be looking at going under those guards now, and then hopefully be sitting 1, or at least be in the house. So this is Fleming's last shot. And the weight looks pretty good. Now the sweepers are digging in. The line was pretty good. Needs to curl just a smidge more. And it's not, I don't think, curl enough. So that means that red is it's about 80% open. But Fred Maxie just wants to keep clearing guards, which is not a bad strategy. There's a prominent curling podcaster who knows it's very hard to go wrong when you by clearing a guard. So it gets 1 of the guards, and that rolls out, and the shooter rolls out as well. So the red is in the house. It's second shot. So I think McDonald's looking it over. I just wrote in the YouTube chat LOL, but I did not laugh out loud, and you would have known because you're hearing everything I'm doing. LOL. Here comes Brian Feldman's first, I believe. And I think they want to draw towards the right. I think they're trying to use the other corner guard. It's going to come up a little light. It needs to make sure it gets around the guard, but it's going to crash on the guard. Provides another guard more toward the center. But unfortunately, it also doesn't cover the red rock in the house. And so Maxie is going to ask Vice Skip Michelle Wagner to get it gone. It looks like it's a pretty good line. It might do a bit of a roll too undercover. It actually will roll through the house. But definitely accomplishes the mission of getting rid of that red. Consider it gone. So again, Maxie has a hammer, but I do feel that McDonald has to be in a steal all costs mode, trying to keep guards in front of the house to utilize later in the end. I think with the score being what it is, I think you want to maybe try to steal 2 or 3 and then try and steal a deuce and then steal the extra end. That's a lot of stealing. This shot from Brian is going to crash on the guard and roll towards the center. Not necessarily a bad outcome. It does put another red McDonald stone in the center to make a play on later. That's, I think, a big reason why Fred Maxie is asking Michelle Wagner again to get it gone. Sweepers are digging in. Gets one. Oh, and it crashes on the yellow in the back. So now we have a wide open sheet. Okay, I say wide open sheet. One of the reds rolled into the top 12. But it's the advantage is slightly shifted towards McDonald. But she needs to put rocks into the house and make it hard for Maxie to score with his last rock, the hammer. So it looks like from here they just want to draw around those corner guards on the right.
Right.
Shots underway. Weightless maybe a tad on the light side. Altus and Fleming are digging in, sweeping hard. Yeah, the ice, I think the weight was just a little light. And the line, obviously based on where the stone ended up, it did not curl enough. And so now Maxie, I think, will at least try and get rid of that red that entered the house, which is a potential counter. There is a possibility of a thin double if he hits the center red on the extreme left side. It could roll over towards the red on the left. That's a tricky shot, and I think the primary goal would be just to get rid of that red in the center. Here is Fred Maxie with his first. line looks pretty good. It's going to get one. It's going to roll over and get the second red to go further out of the house. So another great upweight shot for Fred Maxey. Red is shot. Red is still hanging around. So, again, if McDonald is doing a steal at all costs strategy, which I'm not entirely, I'm not on the ice, I don't know for sure she is, but I think the goal would be to hit the yellow out and then maybe roll the red again under cover and then force Fred Maxey to do a draw and hope that he misses somehow. I mean, and I guess the other plan would be to just hopefully do the force and try to score 6 points in the last end. Which again, I said is a tall order unless you're playing me. And you have to catch me on a bad night. Or just any night. Here we go. Andy McDonald with her last here in the 7th. Okay, so I'm not going to make a play on the yellow. I want to draw around those corner guards on the right. The weight's better this time. The line is also a little bit better, but I think it's still going to be pretty open. It is going to be exposed. It is shot for now. But if Fred Maxey employs the patented get it gone strategy, it's going to go away. And Fred Maxey's going to have 2, and that would be close to the ball game. So Michelle has the broom down. Fred Maxey gets settled into the hack. This is the last rock here in the 7th end for Fred Maxey with a chance for a deuce. Rock goes away. Does it stick around? It does stick around. That is a score of 2, and that is handshakes all around as McDonald has conceded. And that will do it. Team Maxie are our MoPac 2022 Mixed Team Champions. We have skip Fred Maxey, vice skip Michelle Wagner, second Dan Baresh, and lead Gabriel Coleman. They have just punched their ticket to the U.S. Mixed Nationals when they take place. So congratulations to Fred Maxey for winning. Also, congratulations to Team McDonald. We got Andy McDonald, the skip, Brian Feldman Jr., the third, Ella Fleming the second, Ozzy Altus the lead, and Patrick McDonald the coach. They put up a strong fight. They had a very strong showing this weekend, coming up just a little short here in the first tiebreaker. But a solid effort, a solid game. Some hugs being exchanged, and just a great play all around. Thank you again to everyone that took part in this weekend. Just another super friendly reminder because I get to do this a lot. This broadcast is presented by authority of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. But as we're wrapping things up, thank you again to our gracious hosts, the Southern California Curling Center. Also to everyone involved at MoPac to help make sure this event took place, including the MoPac Competitive Committee, headed by Ken Pomeroy. Also, MoPac extends its thanks to me, which I appreciate, as the lead for this broadcasting effort. And thank you to the viewers for tuning in. I heard some great feedback over this weekend about just having this available, and we hope to continue having this available in the tournaments to come.
North Dakota is
So for all of us here at the Southern California Curling Center and MoPac, this is Ryan Olson. Once again, Team Maxie, undefeated through the round robin in the first tiebreaker, the MoPac champions for mixed teams. Congratulations to them, and for all of us here, so long and good curling.